Rise and shine, mothers and brothers, and cheese wedges, and handlebars, and Fu Manchus, and chin straps, and diving boards all over the world. Diving boards, that's my new name for the people that trim so much underneath their beard. They line it up, and it's like a cheese wedge on steroids. And when they go like that, it sticks straight out, and you could jump off of it into a pool, and it looks weird, man. Beards should flow like a curtain blowing in the wind, not look like a diving board. Anyways, I'm not sure if that just happens in Philly. Does it happen where you are? Hey, thank you for riding with me on my ride to work today. It's Quit Yo Whining Wednesday, which means you got to stop complaining and start doing. Stop your complaining and start doing. Time is short. The older you get, the less time you have. Now, every day could be your last, but statistically speaking, you're going to live to 85. 80, 85 with medicine, maybe more. And if you take care of yourself. If you don't take care of yourself, it'll be shorter. So here's the deal. How do I stay energized? How do I stay focused on my goals? One of the things that I do, I pulled out a picture of a time in my life when I had nothing. I was homeless for a very short time. And this is the first time I'm ever telling anyone this. For a very short time, I lived in my car in a Home Depot parking lot. Yep, true story. Got an apartment. Went to Walmart. I bought a sleeping bag. That day, on the way back from Walmart, I bought an air conditioner for $79. Stuck it in the window. I used the box from the air conditioner as a nightstand. The next day I found a lamp on garbage day on the curb. The lamp, I bought a little battery powered alarm clock at CVS to get me up for work. Ran into a dark time in my life. I got a picture of it, a sleeping bag on the floor of a one-bedroom apartment. An air conditioning box next to it with a towel over it to hide the words air conditioner, and a floor lamp, 5.5 foot long, tall floor lamp, and a battery powered alarm clock to get me up from work. Yeah, I was in a dark place, so I know what I'm talking about here. Again, I made the mistakes so you don't have to, and I've experienced some things that weren't my fault. But what is my fault, what I do have responsibility for, what I take full responsibility for, is how I reacted and responded to those issues. That's the key. Life is going to throw you curves all the time. It's how resilient you are. How quickly do you bounce back from adversity is probably one of the most common, powerful things that successful people do and possess. The ability to bounce back after adversity. I remember, it might have been Barbara Corcoran from Shark Tank talked about the difference between successful and non-successful people is how long they feel sorry for themselves after a setback. You know, I remember when I was a kid growing up, I sold a lot of stuff door to door. I'm talking knock on doors. Now if someone knocks on your door, you're like, oh my God, who's at the door? No one comes to the front door anymore. But I used to knock on doors and ring doorbells. This is back in the 60s and 70s when it was okay. And people, the whole family would come to the door to see what you're selling. Were you selling chocolates or candy or popcorn? Were you raking leaves? Were you shoveling driveways? And then there were some people just say not interested, and they didn't want to talk about it. They didn't want to see what I have. They didn't want to just have any conversation. They just were kind of bothered. And it was very few in those days. Now everybody's bothered to come to the door. Just like, it's kind of like the front door version of telemarketers. You just don't feel like standing in your front door talking to strangers. So here's the deal. I used to knock on a door. Somebody would say, I'm not interested, thank you very much, and then close the door. And I just stood there before I got 3 words out of my mouth. Holy cow. Wow, I'll never forget that. I was probably about 8 years old the first time that happened. I was probably selling something for Cub Scouts. Because I've always been selling things, whether I made stuff and sold it or sold things for fundraising. Always selling, all the time. Grew up selling, newspapers and all this kind of stuff. That's why I say sales training is the best thing you can invest your money in. Don't think that going to college is going to make you rich. Think about it. Statistically speaking, there's more people unemployed who are college graduates than people who have trades and have other skills. College has turned into a place where we no longer come out knowing how to make money. College does not teach you how to make money. I'm an example of that. I have a master's degree in education. I have several undergraduate degrees and 1,000 hours, over 1,000 hours. I actually lost track of the continuing education hours that I have after post-master's degree. Over 1,000 post-masters. I've thrown away certificates. I've thrown away things because guess what? It was good, but now it's useless for me. It hasn't done a thing for me. And I thought to myself, I remember saying, I'm gonna get a PhD by the time I'm 30. And then 30 came. And then I thought, I wanna get a PhD by the time I'm 40. Then 40 came and went. Then I want to get a PhD by the time I'm 50. 50 came and went. So here's the deal. I'm glad I didn't, because I would be depressed because I had a PhD and I wasn't making a lot of money. I've taught in 5 colleges. I've taught in 5 damn colleges. Now I work in a damn mall. I work in a damn mall. So hear me out on this. Hear me out. Number 1, your ability to bounce back from adversity is one of the single most important traits that some people possess naturally, but it's one of the only traits that can be learned. It's also a behavior. How cool is that? People that do it aren't lucky. They didn't hit the big one. They weren't necessarily born with it. Some are. But it's a trait that can be learned. Resiliency is a behavior that comes easier to others, but it can be learned by everybody. I came back from a very dark place, and it took a long time. And the reason why it took a long time was I wasn't born with the ability to bounce back. My natural state is to feel sorry for myself. My natural state, my natural response, my natural response is to have a pity party. And some pity parties can last 10 years. Some pity parties can last 20 years. Some pity parties can last 30 years. Some pity parties can last until you're 85 years old, on the front porch, in a rocking chair, looking back on your life, regretting one thing: the chances that you didn't take, the risks that you didn't take. That's why I'm moved every day when I wake up. It's another chance to move forward. Some people dig their grave every day, one shovelful at a time. And then when it's deep enough, they just dive into that hole. Pull the dirt on themselves. Enough of that, man. Enough of it. Who else is going to tell you this if I don't? I literally had to go to a trade, a blue-collar trade, in order to get ahead in life. A trade. A skill. Colleges don't teach people how to make money. They don't give people skills. They don't even teach you how to think anymore. Let's get real about it. If you have a good life coach, of which I am not one, if you have a good life coach, and I'm not talking about a 25-year-old guy who is leasing a BMW and wearing a leased Rolex and just moved out of his mother's basement and is telling you how to make 6 figures, get away, run as fast as you can. Go to the guy with gray hair. Take my word for it. It's like if you're in New York City and you want to find the quickest way to get somewhere, look for the guy with one leg. You know why? Because he knows all the shortcuts. He doesn't want to have to walk faster or walk farther than he has to. If you want to know where to go in life, look for the guy with gray hair, because he's been there. He's been there. He knows the shortcuts, number one, and number two, he knows he doesn't have forever ahead of him. when you're 25, 30, 35, 40, you think you have forever in front of you. You don't. You don't have forever in front of you. So you work with a sense of urgency when you're a little bit older. That's why I encourage you, get a life coach. I have no recommendations. There is a guy named Jeffrey Combs that I've listened to on several occasions. He's good. He's good. He's very expensive, but he's good. Grant Cardone. Watch every video by Grant Cardone. Every single video. He might not be your style. He's in your face. But you know what? For the person who is stuck and in a pity party and feeling sorry for themselves and feeling too short, too tall, too fat, too skinny, too black, too white, too whatever, the terrible twos, he's going to help you get out of it. Sometimes you need people like that. They're almost prophetic in their, not pathetic, prophetic. They're prophetic in the way that they can determine what your life will be if you continue on the path that you're on. I'm making my Rise and Shine rides to work a little bit shorter now. My Beards Without Borders broadcast will be the typical 30 minutes or so, and of course they are such low energy. When I look at Beards Without Borders, I say, my God, you know, what happened? Well, that's how I am at the end of the day. I fire out of, when I wake up, it's like I'm fired out of a cannon. I'm alert, I'm fast, I'm smart, I'm strong, and I attack my day. By the time I get to the end of my day, I have zero physical energy left, tons of mental energy, but physically, you can see if you've watched the broadcast that I'm very mellow. My voice is different. I would call it more ASMR. The Rise and Shine episodes definitely are not ASMR. They might be, for some, nails on a chalkboard. They might be motivational for some. You know what motivates me? I've got a picture of a sleeping bag in an empty room in a one-bedroom apartment with an air conditioning box as a nightstand and a battery-powered alarm clock and a floor lamp that I found on the curb on trash day. People ask me, what keeps you motivated? That keeps me motivated. I look at that picture and I say, never again. And it keeps me humble. And it keeps me remembering that my natural state of reacting to crisis is pity party. It no longer is pity party. I don't feel sorry for myself. You could put a parachute on my back, fly me over anywhere in the United States, drop me off. I land to the ground without knowing where I am. I will have a job and a place to live. I will not only survive, but I will thrive. And that's a learned behavior. I was just a curl up in a ball, crawl under a couch or in a hole and die kind of person for most of my life. Low self-esteem, not thinking highly of myself, not thinking I'm going to live a long life. Everything about my life was negative. And listening to motivational speakers just made me normal, just made me function normally. And then I had to go even beyond that to succeed. And when I started specializing in resiliency, bouncing back, all of a sudden something happened with my life. And I guarantee something like that will happen to your life. Learn resiliency. Like Barbara Corcoran says, the difference between successful people and non-successful people is how long of a pity party and how long they feel sorry for themselves after an adverse event. You can do it. I know you can, because I believe in you. And there's a few of you who are listening to me and you're taking this very seriously. Get up, dust yourself off, get back on the road. You can do it, man. Have a great day. George Bruno here, also known as the Sultan of Silver. See ya.